If you've ever been in a massive arena, maybe, 50,000 people, waiting for a pop star to take the stage, you know that exact moment.
Oh, yeah.
The lights dim, the crowd noise, just, it goes from a roar to this deafening scream, and then suddenly this unbelievable spectacle just explodes in front of you.
And that feeling, it seems like pure spontaneity, pure magic. But in reality, it is a triumph of engineering.
And military-grade logistics.
Absolutely. Modern live music isn't just a musician and a microphone anymore. It's evolved into this global, multi-billion-dollar business.
Right. The crews don't just show up and plug in their gear. We're talking about weeks of prep, programming, testing every single piece of equipment before the first note even gets played.
And the goal isn't just to play music. The goal is to make sure that music can be heard with perfect clarity over tens of thousands of screaming fans.
So that's what we're going to break down today.
We're going deep behind the curtain to look at the history, the engineering, the team, and just the sheer planning it takes to pull off one single night.
Okay, so let's start by looking at how much live pop music has really changed. I mean, over the last 60 or 70 years.
It's a huge shift.
If you think about the early rock and roll stars, they were playing in pretty small community halls or theaters, clubs.
Right, and the sound systems were so limited. They were really only designed to amplify sound for maybe a couple hundred people.
What's so interesting is that the technology was actually driven by the audience size. It's the social shift that forced a revolution in the tech.
Exactly. Until the 1960s, there just wasn't a commercially available sound system that was powerful enough to project music across a whole football stadium.
And that's the turning point, right? When bands like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones got so huge, they had to start playing in these massive sports venues.
They literally broke the existing technology.
You couldn't hear them. People say the screaming of the crowd was often way louder than the tiny speakers they had on stage.
It was. And that huge increase in audience size forced the engineers to invent new concepts, basically on the fly. Concepts we now totally take for granted.
Like huge speaker systems.
Yeah, massive directional speaker systems. The challenge of going from reaching 300 people to 30,000, that just fundamentally changed everything about the equipment.
And that necessity is really what created the whole machine we see today. Now, artists can spend over a year traveling from city to city, and they need that massive technical capacity to go with them everywhere.
It's a completely different scale of operation.
And that scale is so obvious when you just look at the physical stage. We see it as this temporary thing, but it's really a marvel of modular engineering and creative artistic vision.
It's an artwork that's built for speed.
Totally. Designers use these enormous LED panels, sometimes covering thousands of square feet, to display these super vibrant colors and high-def videos.
And the complexity isn't just the size. It's that every single visual has to sync up perfectly with the rhythm of the music.
Down to the millisecond.
Down to the millisecond. And to get that precision, the entire show, both the visual and the audio, it runs on something called time code.
Okay, what's that?
Time code is basically a digital clock that's embedded in the master audio track.
Yeah.
So every light cue, every video change, every burst of pyro is pre-programmed to trigger when that clock hits a very specific point.
So it takes human error out of the equation. The pyro is always going to go off exactly on the downbeat.
Always. And that attention to detail is what creates all the drama.
Yeah.
The pyrotechnics, the bursts of fire, the sparks, they're all used to punch up these high-energy moments in the songs.
And the lasers projecting those patterns over the audience, it gives it this sort of futuristic feel.
And then you have the stage itself moving. Moving platforms, powerful hydraulic lifts that let artists just appear and disappear from different places.
Sometimes the stage itself tells a story, right? With giant props like inflatables or huge hanging installations.
Woven into the narrative of the set list. So when you're watching, you're not seeing a person pushing a button in real time for every little thing. You're watching a computer system run a complicated script that's been fine-tuned for weeks for that perfect split-second precision.
Okay, let's pivot to sound. Because this, to me, is what separates a good concert from a truly great one.
I agree. Achieving clear, punchy audio in a venue holding 20,000 people. That is maybe the most highly skilled job in the entire operation.
I always wonder about the person in the nosebleeds, way in the back corner. If all the speakers are near the stage, how do they not just get a garbled mess of noise?
That's a great question. And it's why they don't just stack speakers on the stage anymore. They use these massive speaker arrays, they call them line arrays, that are hung very precisely from the ceiling.
Okay.
These systems distribute the audio evenly, kind of like slices of a pie. It ensures the same quality hits the front row as it does the back balcony.
But every arena is built differently. You've got concrete, glass, all these weird angles. How do engineers handle the way sound bounces around in that specific building?
That's where they become acoustic scientists. They have to account for the acoustics of the room. Specifically, things like reverberation time, which is how long it takes for a sound to fade away in that room. Too much reverb and the vocals just turn to mud.
So how do they fight that?
They use digital delays on the speakers that are hung farther back in the arena.
Digital delay.
Yeah, they literally delay the audio going to the far speakers by just a few milliseconds. That way, the sound wave from those speakers arrives at your ear at the exact same time as the sound coming directly from the stage.
Otherwise, you'd hear a distracting echo.
A very distracting echo.
That is an incredible level of synchronization. So what about the band? If they're playing live, how do they manage all the separate signals, the drums, guitars, vocals?
Through immense digital mixing consoles. I mean, we're talking about consoles that can handle hundreds of separate channels at once.
Wow.
This lets the crew adjust the volume, the tone of every single instrument and vocal in real time. They're constantly sculpting the sound.
And for the musicians themselves, they're facing this huge wall of sound aimed at the audience. How do they even hear what they're doing?
They need monitors. In the past, these were wedge speakers on the floor pointed back at them.
I remember those.
Yeah, but today, most artists use custom-molded in-ear monitors. They're tiny speakers that fit right in their ears.
So they get their own personal mix.
Exactly. Maybe the singer wants their own vocals really loud, or the drummer just needs to hear the bass player for timing. It lets them override the chaos.
And the last piece of this is safety, right?
Always. Decibel meters are constantly being watched to make sure the sound level stays within a safe range. And there's even advanced software that can subtly correct minor pitch issues during a live vocal performance. It's like a hidden safety net.
So all of this complex, high-stakes tech is being run by people. And the success of a concert really relies on dozens, sometimes over 100 essential staff working behind the scenes.
The crew is this whole hierarchy of specialized experts. The person with the final say on sound quality is the front-of-house engineer, or FOH engineer.
That's the person you see sitting in the middle of the audience with that huge board.
Exactly, the sonic architect. They sit there to hear exactly what the fans are hearing, and they're constantly adjusting the mix all through the show.
Then you have the visual specialists, the lighting directors. They're following this incredibly detailed cue sheet, almost like a musical score.
Right, triggering colors, spotlights, strobes at those exact time-coded moments. If they miss one cue, the whole impact of a song's chorus could just be lost.
But before any of that, the physical structure has to be built.
That's where the roadies come in, the stagehands and instrument techs. They do the heavy lifting, setting up the drum kits, running thousands of feet of cable, tuning all 30 guitars the artist might use.
And then there are the riggers, who have maybe the most dangerous job of all.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
These are highly specialized pros who climb dozens of feet up into the rafters of the stadium.
Wow.
They use complex pulleys and motors to secure those multi-ton speaker arrays, the lights, the video walls. Their work requires intense focus. If a speaker falls, it's a catastrophe.
And we can't forget the support staff, like the wardrobe assistants. They're miracle workers.
They really are, helping the artist do 5 or 6 complete costume changes in, like, 60 seconds between songs.
60 seconds. And those costumes are often covered in thousands of hand-stitched sequins or crystals.
All designed to sparkle under those incredibly bright stage lights. The visual effect is part of the show.
And finally, safety is the top priority. You have massive security teams, medical teams.
Fire marshals inspecting every exit, making sure capacity limits aren't exceeded. Every single person, from the guitar tech to the fire marshal, is part of this machine designed for a smooth, safe show.
It's just astounding that this entire setup, with over 100 people, is often taken down and moved the same night. But the performance you see on stage, that's just the final result of months of prep.
Absolutely. The creative prep starts months before the first concert. Choreographers work for weeks not just designing the dance steps, but making sure the artist can actually do every move while singing without getting out of breath.
And the vocal coaches are so critical too. They're helping the singer build the stamina to perform for 2 hours straight, 5 nights a week, without blowing out their voice.
Then you get the serious test runs, technical rehearsals.
Right.
They set up the entire stage, lights and sound, but in a private warehouse away from the public. and they just run the entire show, cue by cue, to test the tech.
And the dress rehearsals with the full costumes to make sure everything works under pressure, no malfunctions.
And that brings us to the logistics of actually moving the tour. It's a massive machine. A single stadium show needs, what, 30 to 40 semi-trucks?
30 to 40 just to transport the stage, the gear, the lights.
Crossing state lines, international borders.
Mhm.
It's relentless. The crew often works through the night, sometimes
Yeah.
12 or 14 hours straight, just dismantling the set right after the show ends.
While the artist flies to the next city, those trucks are driving hundreds of miles to get to the next venue by dawn.
This is where the tour managers really prove their worth. They deal with a constant stream of problems. Booking hotels for 100 people, handling customs, different electrical systems.
A travel delay or a customs issue could be incredibly costly. It could even cause a cancellation.
That's right. The tour manager is the unseen backbone, making sure this incredibly fragile, complex operation stays on schedule across entire continents.
So if it costs this much and has this much risk, what does it all mean financially? I mean, organizing a world tour is a huge multi-million-dollar investment.
It's very high stakes, but the returns are massive. The main source of income for major artists today is, by far, ticket sales.
It's completely surpassed album sales.
Oh, absolutely. Selling recorded music now is more like a marketing tool for the tour.
And they use dynamic pricing now, too, where the ticket prices go up based on real-time demand.
Exactly. Maximizing revenue for every single seat. And beyond tickets, merchandise, the t-shirts, the posters, they can generate tens of millions more. Sometimes it's 25 to 30% of the total profit.
Plus, the corporate sponsors who pay huge amounts to get their brand name up there.
Of course.
So, looking to the future, how is technology changing this again?
Well, some people are already experimenting with holographic performances.
Wow.
It could one day allow a famous artist to appear in multiple cities at the exact same time. It would sort of eliminate some of that grueling travel and risk.
And what about AI?
That's a really fascinating idea. Artificial intelligence could soon be used to create personalized light shows. Imagine the lighting reacting in real time, not just to the music, but to the specific energy of your crowd.
So every show would be truly unique.
Truly unique. We might also see more use of spatial audio that makes you feel totally immersed in a 3D sound experience.
Live stream is already a big thing, too. It's a new income source. Though, I don't know, a lot of people argue a digital stream can't ever replace that feeling of being in the crowd.
It's a tough feeling to replicate. When you connect all these dots, a pop concert is just this perfect, fragile blend of high-tech engineering, ruthless business logistics, and incredible human performance.
And all of it is focused on creating one shared, memorable experience for you.
The next time you're standing in that crowd, just realize you're not just watching a person sing, you are witnessing the temporary triumph of 30 semi-trucks and 100 professionals all coming together for one night.
That core human desire to gather and hear music together, that remains the driving force no matter what the technology looks like in the future.
Good luck with your studies.